Are the rules of how the mind works. I can change the contents of my mind. Well, how do we go about doing that? The concept of affirmation. It is one of the most powerful tools we have for changing our mind is to have a thought that doesn't just generally put a salve on, oh, I'm a good boy, everything's going to turn out all right, kind of a generic balm that I put on my anxiety. It has to be something that hits pay dirt, goes to the jugular of the negative thought or the limiting belief. But it's got to have something that means something to me. And what might mean something to me, what might really hit pay dirt to me, you might say, big deal. Well, that's okay. That's okay. That's why we're going to tailor now. We're going to take your three limiting beliefs and we're going to tailor thoughts that are limiting belief killers. But we're not going to do it by being negative about the limiting beliefs because you just compound negativity. It's like war. Well, we're going to end war by getting even. Getting even doesn't do it. It's like the little kid in the back seat that says, Mom, he hit me back first. What is really going to stifle that negative belief is going to a higher truth that I subscribe to, that really resonates within me. I've actually made a science out of this. There are 4 principles of making an effective affirmation. The first one is that it has to be positive. If I said, I don't like the job that I'm in, and so my affirmation is, I'm not going to work on jobs that depress me. Well, remember the mind works like a dog? So the commands in that thought are, I'm not going to work and depress me. If I have an affirmation that says, I'm attracting work tasks that I enjoy and for which I'm rewarded. The commands of that are, I'm attracting, I enjoy, and I am rewarded. Bingo. It's got all positive things that I want. If you remember how the mind works, if you keep making a list of everything you don't want, boom, you attract more and more of that. So the first rule of a good affirmation is that it's positive. The second one is that it's personal. The affirmation is about me and my life rather than general conditions. It must move me personally. So a good example is, I'm feeling more joy in my life each day. Bad example is, life should be lived joyfully. Don't you think? How do I get that feeling in my own body? The third rule for a good affirmation is that it should be present. It touches me most effectively if it's stated in the present tense, not in the future or the past. So a good example is, I'm working more productively as I encourage myself. Bad example is, I'll do better at work when I have a better attitude. Of course, I don't have a good attitude, so I suck. The mind is going to come in with that one right away. If I had a better attitude, I'd be better off now. Well, again, my attitude stinks, and so this is what I deserve. No. So we want to put it in the present. I am working more productively as I encourage myself. And the last one is, it's got to be practical. I'm the greatest. I feel on top of the world and everyone bows to my command. Yeah, right. The affirmation needs to stretch me just the right degree, like yoga. You don't like crank yourself and dislocated arm, you stretch just the right amount. And so an affirmation that's too flaccid, I'll do better someday when the time is right. So practical, a good example depends on just what's right for me now. And this is where you're going to tailor these so it's right for you. So I'm enjoying my relationships more and more. If I just said, I'm enjoying all my relationships. My mind says, yeah, right. What about that? It's my mind's not going to buy that. But if I say I'm enjoying my relationships more and more, it means, oh, I'm working towards it. All right, that's a little bit of a stretch, but okay, I'm willing to take that. Bad example is everyone thinks I'm the greatest. My mind can't and shouldn't buy that. Or someday, if I'm lucky, someone may think I'm okay. That's what I call the wimpy affirmation. It's got no spine in it. I'm actually stretching myself right now in what I'm going to do because I'm going to share my affirmations with you, not because these are the greatest, but just to give you an example of how I use these principles to make an affirmation. Don't copy mine or do it the way I do it. We're writing an affirmation for the 3 limiting beliefs that we came up with in the affirmation scheme. What I'm doing right now is I'm reading my last 3, and then I'm saying what the affirmation is that I came up with. So, for example, my first limiting belief was if I do not go through fear, I'll not prepare myself well enough to do my best. So there's part of me that believes that. I've got to turn the crank. How many people are coming tomorrow? What are they expecting? They're paying good money for this Morningstar. And so the affirmation is my love and trust and universal support guides me to prepare for and give my best with joy every day. That's a stretch, but it's got things in that I subscribe to. That makes sense. Maybe universal support doesn't mean anything to you, but to me, it's got some juice. So I'm using things that have juice for me and don't make it ultimate. I'm always doing my best. I'm always well prepared. It's prompting me to be prepared. Okay, my second of limiting beliefs was I need anxiety to keep me attentive to my self-care. So the affirmation I wrote for that is my self-care delights and fulfills me more and more each day. So there's no shoulds in there about what I should do. As soon as you hit a should, you're shoulding on yourself. And there's part of me that contracts. Jim, you should. But you notice in that affirmation, I said, my self-care delights and fulfills me. If I were to stop there, it's like, well, not all the time. That exercise program I did yesterday really torqued me out. It wasn't very delightful. So I throw in there a modifier, which is more and more each day. So that gives me wiggle room. And my third limiting belief was that anxiety will assist me to greater self-esteem and confidence. My affirmation is owning the truth of who I am is my continual companion now. And you say, well, how does that address that belief? Well, parenthetically, the whole affirmation is this: owning the truth of who I am is my continual companion now, giving me genuine self-love and confidence in living my purpose. That's what I mean by that. But that's too long. So I just cut that off and I use the phrase, owning the truth of who I am is my continual companion now. Oh, that's a nice thing you can put in your pocket. And yeah, I have that. But I know that it means all the rest of that. So you don't have to write an affirmation with 3 paragraphs long so that you get everything that could go wrong with it, or no. Keep it short. And it doesn't make any difference if other people like it or get it, or Hallmark calls you up and wants a contract with you, or that it fits for you. That's the acid test. Okay? So let's go ahead and write 3 affirmations now for those limiting beliefs. I just want to give you some tips about how to get the juice out of mastery of the mind to the max. And the first thing is a daily sentence stem. And the daily sentence stem, and I'm going to ask you to write this down. And the sentence stem is a support I ask for from my spiritual community is. A support I ask for from my spiritual community is. I'm going to write a completion to that. It can be one word, but if you do that every day, you will re-stimulate the connections that we've made, and they will be with you. And I said you're going to start feeling more support in life. You will have evidence for it. You will feel it. Number two, play the analysis game with something else. Try it out again. The more you practice it, actually, the easier it gets and the more incisive it can get. Okay, blessings to us all.